Pick up the sneakers, it's a brand new day. Hit the track with thunder, I'm making my own way.
For these New Balance Nationals.
Yeah, she really did set the tone for, you know, these next 3 days, as I should say, and, you know, really just shows the type of talent that this young girl has to offer, and again, hasn't really been, you know, unleashed to probably her full potential. So, you know, by the time of her end of her high school career, we could see that, you know, running in the 10.9s, right around the 11 highs in the 100, but also, you know, we mentioned the fact that she's ran 51.6 in the 400, so could we potentially see, you know, a high school girl breaking 50 seconds in the open 400 is a possibility. But, you know, as the day went along, and of course the havoc that was the weather delays, I think it did benefit a lot of the distance runners in the later evenings, and of course 3 meet records went down. Really good performances in both the 5,000s and the 4 by miles.
Yeah, that was going to be my point as well, Keenan. That's kind of shows, even if you know nothing else, seeing that multiple meet records are going down. We saw that in some of the age group stuff yesterday as well. We'll mention these records as we get kicked off here with multiple sections of the 2 mile and all the various just multiple meet records yesterday, the prelims, the semis, and those sprints. I mean, just an incredible time. And as you said, it worked out with maybe some warmer weather earlier in the day for the sprinters and cooled down a little bit later. So we will kick things off here with section number 1 of 6. These are timed finals. You see the start list here, full 2 mile for these middle school boys. And we'll let them get rolling here. We'll introduce the field. Meet record here set last year by Ruel Newberry, 9:11:70. But even before that, he absolutely obliterated the record that was set the year before by Ryan Sykes in 2023, 9:38:47. So you want to talk about chopping down time. Newberry, 9:11:70 as an 8th grader, and that is now the new meet record.
Ruel Newberry is a special talent. I've been able to watch him the last year as a freshman down in the state of Texas, and he has proven to be, you know, not only one of the top guys in the entire state of Texas, but, you know, one of the rising underclassmen in the entire country. And, you know, he shows no fear when he goes out in the track, and he's be able to put himself in positions where there's no limits, and he'll go out there and run some fast times.
So once again, we will be running the full 2 mile, as you can see, starting about 18 meters back from that common start-finish line. Well, it is Kevin Koopman, William Byford, Ethan Towery, Ben Sosia, Judah Galetka, Zephyr Schermerhorn, Cameron Martinez, Levi Galetka, Leonidas Erforth, Even Lafrac, Griffin D'Angelo, Leland Barnett, Henry Howard, Anderson May, Bolden McLean, Alex Sacco, Will Solenberger, Hudson Jones, Kieran Green, and Tyler Parks. Very full field here. It should be a competitive one as well.
Running a 2 mile at 8:13 in the morning is not necessarily the most easy thing in the world, Trevor, and especially, you know, for a lot of these kids, they had to probably get up around 6 o'clock in the morning to have something to eat, you know, kind of get a little shakeout and get those legs loose, because even then, when you go for a normal run in the morning, that's sometimes a little bit harder on the body. So this is a different spot that these middle schoolers have put themselves in. But, you know, we'll see it. This is the first of 6 sections. We'll get an idea of where these boys are at here in the first hour or so.
We talked about the experience for some of the athletes yesterday when we had the sprint prelims, and just the experience for whether it was the middle schoolers or the freshmen, even the high schoolers, but just having different adversity to overcome, whether it was a false start, traveling from across the country, as you mentioned now, for these runners running earlier in the morning. All of those are things that kind of all go into the pot for you as an athlete, the experience to say, how do I best set myself up for success, as we have Holden McLean out in front in the early goings of this one. But I think you're absolutely right. It's a challenge. You have to learn your body, learn your training regime, and figure out what works best for you, even if it's not, you know, necessarily perfect conditions, although the weather conditions are pretty nice here this morning.
Well, that you can't control. That we could not control yesterday with all the delays. And now what you can control is, you know, your attitude and approach. And, you know, as the day goes on, you know, we're not going to assuming, God willing, that they don't have the weather delays like we did yesterday. But you have to assume that you have to mentally prepare yourself for any sort of elements, whether it's hot, whether it's cold. I mean, the adjustments that those distance runners, at least in the high school stage yesterday, had to make. I mean, some of them were told they were going to be running at 8 o'clock at night in the 5,000. Well, that 5,000 ended up turning to be at 10 o'clock at night. And so as coaches, you have to kind of like reassure your kids, all right, everything's going to be okay. The work is there. It's just now mentally get locked in, even though you've been sitting down for a long time. So in this race alone, we're starting to see some kids start to string out here a little bit, but just through 2 laps, there's still too early to kind of decide what's going to be happening in this race.
It's William Byford there out in front, as you mentioned, starting to settle in a little bit. Holden McLean sitting about 3rd, still with a very good position, striking distance, as we like to say. He's run 10:39 over the 3,200-meter distance.
And for a lot of these kids, they don't necessarily run the 2 mile at their they're in their states. It's not necessarily a state-sanctioned event. So for them, mostly some of them just run the mile. So this is, of course, a little bit longer than what they're used to. So for them, this might be more of a learning experience, how to run this race, especially when they get up to the high school level, and they'll be able to have opportunities to run 3,200s and the full 2 mile.
That's exactly right. I think that part of the benefit of these postseason championships and different invitationals for some of the young athletes, whether it's middle school or high school, is getting the different distances, pacing yourself a little bit differently, even getting into, the middle distances obviously can be a little quirky sometimes because we have the 1,500 internationally, sometimes the 3,000 is run, but as you mentioned, high school is going to be the 1,600 or the 3,200, but then we'll have the mile and the full mile. So it definitely can be a little wonky, but what an opportunity for these boys and girls to come out here to Franklin Field and get a chance to really mix it up, as you see Martinez out in front now.
And starting to see at least 5 of them start to pull away from the rest of the chase pack. And again, start just going through the first couple laps, get a feel of what the race is going to like. And then in the case of Cameron Martinez, he seems he wants to be the one that dictates the pace here as we go along.
And now starting to see a little bit of separation here, probably the largest gap that we've seen as Martinez comes through a couple of ticks over 5 minutes. Been right at that 77, 75 range. Last lap slowed just a little bit before the previous one. Cameron Martinez coming through 1,618 meters at 5:09, so just a little bit over 5-minute mile pace there.
And the rest of the field starting to string out. Now the 5 of them. Martinez, of course, in the lead, and you got, looks like Erforth moving up into that 2nd position. And then Byford, Towery, and Sollenberger are in the next 3 and 3, 4, and 5.
Well, there's also strategy that comes into play, as we said, getting reps and competition, whether you're out in front or part of that chase pack, which is now forming there about maybe 8 meters or so back. I believe that's McLean, not wanting to get too far detached, as it's still Martinez cruising through with Leonidas Erforth right there with him. And it's actually Ethan Towery out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, that's trying to keep pace along with them. Keenan, I like what our colleague Kate Van Buskirk said one time on a call with me. She said, it's like elastic. You can let the gap, it can stretch a little bit, but you don't want it to break. And I think that's what that chase pack is doing, is making sure they've still got a bullseye in the back of our 2 leaders.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing about the 2 mile race. It's such a long race. Well, longer, I should say, than a mile, of course, but you have enough time to make up for it as the laps go by. And so if you find yourself 20 meters back within the first couple of laps, there's no need to panic. You find a way to reel yourself back in and then make up the gap, the 2 laps remaining you have in the race.
Patience certainly being a virtue in these longer distances. Martinez still looking pretty comfortable out in front, but definitely not clear of the field. Her fourth maybe fading ever so slightly. It's Towery, Byford, Will Sollenberger there as well. So our top 5 in the main frame here. Martinez still leads. 82 seconds on that last lap, slowing just a bit, but he's still got maybe a half second or second on the rest of that pack, as we're just over 8 minutes.
So similar to what you would have in a mile, this is about the 3/4 away mark. So this is where you kind of decide, this is where I'm going to make my move and start to pull away from the rest of the field. And you can see the tempo start to pick up, especially from the chase pack right behind Martinez. There you see Byford moving up into that second position and trying to close in on that gap on Martinez with a little bit under 600 meters to go.
Martinez looking strong, looking comfortable as Byford now moves into second position. As you can see, the gap has grown, call it 12 or 15 meters for Cameron Martinez. William Byford trying to stay within striking distance. Byford ran a 9:53 3,000 meters earlier this year. These middle schoolers, as we said, some great opportunities to get in and mix it up, not just with the local athletes, with athletes from the entire region and indeed the country. Just an incredible opportunity for these young competitors. Cameron Martinez takes the bell, and he will be firmly in control. 9:10:27 at the bell. William Byford about 3 seconds back.
79.90 for Martinez. It was a little bit slower on his penultimate lap, 82.75. But so far, he's starting to look real strong right here and is attacking here on the backstretch. Look at the gap that he's created, about 40, maybe almost 50 meters separating him and the rest of the field. He timed it about perfectly, Trevor. He was able to kind of stay relaxed within the last, the penultimate lap, and now really open it up here on the last lap.
Cracked this thing wide open. Cameron Martinez picked his moment to strike, and the battle now is for second with William Byford, and you see Ethan Towery there as well. But this young man is in a frame of his own here. Cameron Martinez took the lead and never let it go here in the first section of our boys' middle school mile. Oh, a little trip on the rail there. It is still Franklin Field with this unique setup, but Cameron Martinez is going to take this one going away. 10:22.66 and a 72-second last lap as Ethan Towery does hang on, and a very good finish for him with a 74-second final lap. That's Will. So Martinez, a well-deserved victory. He had company for most of that race, as you said, Keenan, until the last maybe 600 or so, 800. He was definitely out in front, but he really broke it open when he took the bell and made quick work of the rest of the field, winning by about 6 seconds. 10:22.66 for Cameron Martinez.
Maybe other than the one lap he had where he ran 82 seconds, that was about as even of a race as you could have had. I mean, he ran 5:09 for that first mile and then closed in at about 5:13. Of course, his best lap was that last lap, which, if anything, you want to have that last lap be your best lap. I know everyone tries to get out fast and strong, and typically that first one is your fastest, but if you're able to, maintain your speed, your position throughout the race, and then find something a little bit towards the end of that race, the last lap and the last kick can really benefit you towards the end. And of course, it benefited Martinez get the win here in this first section.
Pacing. That's a huge aspect of distance running, of course. And this generally is going to be the longest distance that these athletes will run in the middle school sections, and sometimes you'll see the high schoolers hop into a 5,000 meters, but it's just the right distance, I think, pushing a little bit harder. And like you said, getting a little bit more of a chance to stay patient and feel a longer race. Well, we move now to section 2 of 6.
Never slowing down. Got the whole crowd cheering. Listen to that sound. Hearts in the race and I'm pushing